Let's start with a brief history. The United Nations is the primary governing body for global climate policy.
In June of 1972, the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment was held in Stockholm, Sweden. This conference was a major milestone in environmental policy. At this meeting, the United Nations Environment Programme, or UNEP, was launched. In addition to the UNEP, a declaration containing 26 principles concerning the environment and development was established. One of the most important topics that was mentioned at the conference was a connection between poverty alleviation and ecological management. It was a major starting point for nations across the globe to better the environment to help all those being affected.
The Montreal Protocol is an international treaty created in 1987 and enforced in 1989, designed and implemented to protect the then depleting ozone layer by phasing out halogenated hydrocarbons. All UN member countries have ratified this protocol. This protocol is viewed as an immense success, both on an environmental level and a diplomatic level. In this image, the blue globe on the right was the predicted ozone deterioration without the implementation of the protocol, clearly at dangerously low levels.
In 1992, the UN Conference on the Environment and Development, which was held in Rio de Janeiro, resulted in the Framework Convention on Climate Change. After meeting again in 1995, the parties of the UNFCCC outlined specific targets on emissions, which leads to the establishment of the Kyoto Protocol in 1997. The protocol's main goal is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in order to cease global warming, which is caused by the emissions of these gases, including CO2. The protocol was entered into force in 2005, and there are currently 192 parties committed. Despite George Bush taking serious measures against climate change, he opposed the treaty. He once said it exempts 80% of the world, including major population centers such as China and India, from compliance and would cause serious harm to the U.S. economy. Even though the U.S. is one of the major reasons for high greenhouse gas emissions, they are still not part of the Kyoto Protocol. They still remain to this day one of the only UNFCCC parties not part of the protocol.
The Paris Climate Agreement was created by the United Nations Framework Commission on Climate Change and was entered into force on November 4, 2016. A total of 170 countries committed to decreasing their respective emissions. This agreement not only recognizes the impending danger of climate change, but aims to hold the increase in the global average temperature to well below 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. This agreement will cost over $100 billion, and the emissions cuts come into play in 2020. However, the ultimate goal of this agreement is to have net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. During the Obama administration, the United States was fully supportive of the Paris Climate Agreement.
Good evening. In my first inaugural address, I committed this country to the tireless task of combating climate change and protecting this planet for future generations. 2 weeks ago, in Paris, I said before the world that we needed a strong global agreement to accomplish this goal. An enduring agreement that reduces global carbon pollution and sets the world on a course to a low-carbon future. A few hours ago, we succeeded.
However, with the election of Donald Trump, the United States subsequently withdrew from the Paris Climate Agreement.
My solemn duty to protect America and its citizens. The United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord but begin negotiations to re-enter either the Paris Accord or in really entirely new transaction on terms that are fair to the United States, its businesses, its workers, its people, its taxpayers. So we're getting out.
This leaves the United States as one of the 3 countries who are not participating in this agreement, showing that although the global community has embraced the Paris Climate Agreement and signaled to the rest of the world a commitment to progress and change, the U.S. backing out of this agreement on June 1, 2017 signals as well to the rest of the world that the globe's second largest carbon emitter and largest economy in the world was unwilling to take steps to mitigate the environmental degradation and global warming. As we soar past 400 parts per million of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, we rely on other countries to pull the U.S.'s weight and hope that in the near future the U.S. will recommit to a robust climate agreement.